would like to call upon our Madam Kebulenu Angami to kindly receive that.
First of all, I thank the Almighty God for bringing us together to this place from various parts of the country, Dr. Ninaja from Delhi and our teachers from the different districts of the state to this place this morning. After the pandemic, this is the first time we are conducting a seminar with our teachers, and I would like to take this opportunity to express my appreciation and congratulate all our teachers for the efforts that you have put into the last 2 years of the pandemic, where you have explored all possible options to connect with your students, and that you have given your best to give education to our children. That is laudable. So I would like to congratulate all of you. During the last 2 years, we have learned so many. It has taught us many things. We have learned many things also, with all the trials and then with all the difficulties that we have faced. And in that, we have also realized, without our teachers and then without the classroom connections, learning is incomplete, and then the children, they had to face a lot of difficulties without the classroom teaching. So to engage the students in the classroom in a meaningful way, it's very important to provide quality education to our children. And it is said that the teachers are the backbone of an education system. The way the teacher teach has a great influence on the students, and the strength of an institution rests on its teachers. The role of the teachers, the competency level of the teachers in transacting the curriculum and in implementing the activities in the school, the assessment, all these are very important, and without the teachers, we will not be able to do anything. So the role of the teachers is very crucial in all regards. Now with the NEP 2020, we have to relearn many things, and we also need to adopt the best practices and the new strategies that will help us to do better. These are things that we need to discuss more, and then we need to reorient our teachers. I'm sure all of you now are aware that now the emphasis is going to be more on the core essentials, and then NEP talks about that we give as experiential learning, and then that the students experience themselves and they learn by doing. All these are stressed upon, and also like strengthening the foundational literacy, and that the children learn the lessons with clarity. They are taught with the basics, and then they are very clear with the concepts. All these are being emphasized, and also interactive teaching with reduced dependency on the textbooks. All these are given a lot of importance.
I should draw a little allusion to a statement that Madam Asano just mentioned, that let's be prepared to learn. Well, that brings me to somebody who said one day that, teacher, if I can't learn the way you teach, teach me the way I learn. So, the whole process of teaching and learning doesn't stop at what and how the teacher conducts herself or himself. The efficacy is always two ways. The communication is always two ways. And most importantly, the learning is always two ways. If students, now I come to my classroom, this is of course, if I can say, a laboratory. A laboratory where we shall be exchanging some ideas. Because after all, this room has a majority of what someone said, those who touch the future. They are teachers. The only profession in the world that can touch, in all humility, ladies and gentlemen, the future. And that's where, and that's how important the role, the responsibility that each one of you in this room has. My God, that's phenomenal. That's really phenomenal. Can you just understand the whole dynamics of what you bring to a classroom? You're not just Miss so-and-so, Mrs. so-and-so, or Mr. so-and-so, or Dr. so-and-so. You are much more than that to that child sitting in that classroom. And that's the reason I believe over the years when the government has looked into schemes, policies, initiatives in the education sector, for the first time in the National Education Policy 2020, the focus has been every change, every transformation that has to come through the teacher. There have been a lot of focus in the earlier schemes on access, on equity in public education, the government education system, in fact I should say education system. There has been a lot of focus on that, and that's the reason why today we are able to see a lot of increase in enrollment, in attendance, in children coming to schools, not just globally. Right now I shall talk of our country and specifically this region. We have been able to meet challenges of enrollment. That's because we focused on it as access and equity went up. Now NEP 2020 brings into light and focus quality. Quality in education. We don't discuss access, we've done with it. We are not discussing equity, we are done with it. By God's grace, we have made advancements. Thanks to NCFs, thanks to RTE, thanks to SSA, Education for All. Those are targets that have been, to some semblance of achievement, met. So what's now? Now is quality. And if you actually read the NEP document, it gives a lot of focus and priority on the teacher who is to bring about that quality. And that's why in the beginning, I'm talking to part 1 of NEP, it says that teacher needs to be at the focus. How? A highly motivated teacher, a teacher who is respected. Because teacher is a human being. Of course, there is a lot when we expect the teacher to drive classrooms, to drive reforms, to drive learning outcomes, to change the landscape of education. Wow. But then, when we come to that person, the human being, the individual, the teacher, there are certain things that motivate a teacher, there are certain other things that demotivate a teacher. I'm very glad to see the administration here in Nagaland takes cognizance of that. That's one reason why this as a workshop has been envisaged. It wasn't some kind of a need gap that was done, in all humility. We decided to do it because the administration felt that our teachers would benefit, our teachers would be motivated, our teachers would be more empowered to transact classrooms, what we call classroom teaching, the pedagogy that you adopt in the classroom. Now there is something where I bring about the focus of today's workshop, the seminar, if we say that, the curricular linkages. Now when I talk of curricular linkages, I shall be bringing to fore two kinds of these today. And we shall look at them with the lens of the NEP that talks of, as Madam Asano has rightly alluded, the multidisciplinary approach. Let me tell you, apart from the multidisciplinary approach, there are three other approaches to curriculum and how you look at curriculum. Intradisciplinary, interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary, apart from multidisciplinary. So we shall look at all of them and where we stand as a subject teacher. Can we transact all of them? Yes, we can. You'll be surprised to see how some of you are already doing it. You just need to now acknowledge and feel happy for yourself that yes, I am doing some of it. Now coming back to the focus of the day, curricular linkages in terms of co-curricular and cross-curricular linkages. Co-curricular linkages we shall talk about vis-a-vis how in one study, one subject, one discipline, you create linkages between different parts. As an English teacher, I go back to my days as an English teacher, 20 years back. As an English teacher, I would love to draw this kind of linkage between Keats' Autumn, Ode to Autumn, and P.B. Shelley's, can anyone give me the name of the poem? P.B. Shelley's Ode to the West Wind. Now these are poetries that are taken up by an English teacher in 9th, 10th. Typically in CBSE, I think one of the poems is still there, I'm not very sure. 20 years back they were there. Now when I'm talking of co-curricular linkage, what shall I do? There is the connotation of the west wind in P.B. Shelley's poetry. I shall take that element of the westerlies, and the westerlies blow during autumn, which is the focus of Keats' poem. Now, that's how a child understands the connection and the interconnection between different parts of the same curriculum. Another example, when I'm doing, for example, a letter in writing skills, I'm doing a formal letter. I shall again look at some part of literature part which contains a letter from a father to his daughter. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru wrote a lot of letters to his daughter, though they were not in the nature of a strictly formal letter, but he did abide by a lot of those. So anyway, letter writing is something which is taught as part of grammar and writing skills in English. Let's take portions from literature which sit there. Now coming to cross-curricular. That's the other part that we shall focus on. When I'm talking of cross-curricular linkages, I'm connecting a theme or a topic of two disciplines or two subjects. Like taking the same example of Ode to the West Wind by P.B. Shelley. As an English teacher, when I'm discussing this in the classroom, I shall draw upon geography. I shall draw upon science, which has water cycle, and in Ode to the West Wind, the poet has very beautifully moved from one stanza to the other on the impact of the west wind on water, on air, on land. That's what the whole water cycle is all about, condensation, evaporation. So this is what the focus of the workshop is going to be. I do hope you participate and enjoy as much as I'm planning to. We had the gentleman saying in the beginning that we come here with our open minds and a positive attitude. I shall just add a little bit to it. We also come here where doors are open. So anytime you feel, oh, this is not for me, please feel free to walk out. I shall not take offense. Thank you very much.
Good morning to all of you. It's indeed a beautiful day and an opportunity for all of us to learn. And I take this privilege and this time to thank God for giving us this day where we can all come together and learn together. I also acknowledge the role played by NBSE for organizing this program, and I also acknowledge the presence of Dr. Neena Jha for willingly coming here to share her knowledge with us. And thank you, all of you, for positively responding to the call for this workshop. We all say and we all know that change is constant, change is inevitable, and also that change is a process. We have been following the curriculum, which is based on the hardcore subjects, but we now know that the National Education 2020, it focuses and changed the structure, focuses on multidisciplinary approach, and even the structure is being changed from 5+3+3 to 4. The structure is being changed, so also the approaches. As the former speakers have already shared, we are talking about integration of arts, integration of sports, skill building, problem solving into the curriculum. And during the course of the discussion today, you'll be learning more of these issues. I'm not a technical expert, but what I do know is that we have to nurture children for the future. Children who can be problem solvers. Children who will be able to take responsibilities in the future. We have seen during the last few years the change in the nature of jobs which are available. It's not just academics anymore. Creativity, ability to take up opportunities, ability to change challenges into opportunities. These are attributes which we have to bring in children. We are to create, we have to nurture and provide holistic education to our children. Yes, during the last few years, and in the case of most of you throughout your life, you have been nurturing children. And because of you, we have children who are contributors to our society. And at the same time, we have to move forward and adapt to the new changes. For adaptation to the new changes, it is dependent on you. The policies, the dialogues will be just on paper or in the workshop rooms if it's not implemented. Therefore, you have to play a very critical role. The society is dependent on you to bring about this change for adoption and the smooth transition from the old to the new. And we look forward to your contribution positively.